Hello and welcome to Rise and Unwind, Raleigh. Each and every week I try to bring people from across the country to talk to me about things you could do in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, I got this.
Have a little something for everyone. And it seems like these boards took a lot of time and were quite elaborate, but I promise you they were not.
And I think something that was important for me was to really just pay tribute and homage to the men and women who've helped make this community what it is. Like, there's so many incredibly talented people.
This is deeply personal to me, as my mother lives with Alzheimer's and my father with dementia.
All that and more right here on Rise and Unwind Raleigh. You ever wonder what's really inside all of those old, dusty storage lockers? Is it trash? Is it treasure? Is it something worse? The hit 80s series Storage Wars is back with bigger lockers, bolder finds, and fiercer bidding. And one of the show's fan favorites is joining us to preview the new season. Brandi Passante is here, longtime buyer, savvy negotiator, and honestly, a Storage Wars icon. Let's welcome her to the show. Brandi, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
All right, for folks that are haven't watched this for a while, what is new this season on Storage Wars?
We have an hour long this season, which, there's a lot more chance for us to, highlight, all the background stuff that we're doing and all the silly stuff, that you never get to see. So that's exciting. We also went to an estate sale this season. That was a lot of fun, especially for me because I won big. Dave Hester's back this season. That's not very exciting. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about it. Season 16. So that's a little crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy big number for that. You guys have been around, what was it, 2020? No, 2010, right?
Yeah, we kind of started shooting in 2009, and yeah. So it aired, shortly after that.
So what is the biggest thrill for you when you're seizing, sizing up a locker? Is it the mystery, some of the potential profit, or maybe just beating Dave Hester?
I think more than anything, if I like a unit, it's the element of winning that. And it's also, the potential to make money, at the end of the day, that's what I'm there for. And, it is always kind of fun. I do get to learn about, obscure items that I would have never known anything about. And, I found quite a few and unique items over the seasons, or over the years. And, sometimes I fail big and sometimes I win big, but, the longer I've done it, the less fails that there are, you just live and learn.
In over 16 seasons of buying lockers, selling lockers, and chasing dollar bills, what is some of the crazier, I guess everybody asks you this, but what are some of the crazy things or some of the most memorable things or some of the most heartfelt things that you have found within these lockers?
In the beginning, they'd be like journals and things like that. And I would just kind of get wrapped up and read these things. And now I don't do that as much. It takes a lot of time out of it. And it's, kind of a time waster. But I've also found, before I even started the show, it was one of my first units that I bought. There were these old photos. I mean, this is what I always kind of go back to. They were black and white photos from the 1800s, and they were of dead people. And it was, I guess, tradition to, capture their soul or something along those lines. And they kind of gave me the creeps. And I held on to them for, a minute, and I ended up throwing them out. And I found out later they were worth a lot of money, and I shouldn't have done that. But, it goes with anything in this business. You kind of have to live and learn, learn your lesson, do a little more research.
Not to give anybody advice on buying and selling lockers, but if anybody was interested in taking this up as a hobby or maybe small business, what are some of the first steps to that you would assume to give them as a suggestion, or say, don't do this, this is terrible, don't do this at all? What are your thoughts?
I would say don't do it. And that's what I kind of say as a rule. I mean, it's not an easy job. I know we make it look easy, but we've all been doing it a long time. It's backbreaking work. It's moving day every single day. It's cleaning out disgusting things, and sometimes it's full of dirt and dust and sometimes there's critters and it's not easy. You have to find a place to store all of the things. You have to go to the dump to throw away the things that you can't sell, and then you have to find an outlet to sell the items that you are keeping. So it's a difficult job. It is not easy, and there are a lot of fails along the way. You don't always win.
Yeah, that's pretty much all my entire life right there. Brandi Passante, thanks for joining me this morning. You can check out the new season of Storage Wars at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on A&E, and then they stream the episodes the very next day online. Brandi, thanks for hanging out with me this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about something that affects all of us as we age. Brain health. There are many things the older population can do to keep their brains working best, like being active, eating right, staying socially connected, and stimulating their brains with puzzles, games, and new hobbies. One organization is doing something special this summer to help, so let's take a look.
Declining mental health is both professional and personal for family medicine specialist Dr. Isabelle Souffrant.
This is deeply personal to me, as my mother lives with Alzheimer's and my father with dementia. Our cognitive health allows us to impact our memory and help us with our decision making, which helps us remain physically independent. We have 7 million people living with Alzheimer's today. It's something we need to get proactive about now.
To help seniors nationwide, Dr. Souffrant highlights the Humana Cognitive Games, part of the 2025 National Senior Games.
Humana Cognitive Games is a virtual challenge focusing on brain health. The free event is now open till August 11th, and it's open to anyone. It's designed to give your brain a fun workout through online games and activities that can stimulate your mind.
Start playing at humanagames.com.
Do you ever wonder what it's like to travel across Europe without knowing where you actually are? It's kind of a weird question. NBC's Destination X drops blindfolded contestants into a high-stakes, high-confusion game of trust, strategy, and pretty much pure guesswork. Joining me today is Peter Weber. Yep, Pilot Pete himself, who's no stranger to reality TV drama after The Bachelor and The Traitors. Now he's trading roses for riddles on the ultimate geo-guessing game board. Welcome to the show, Peter. How are you?
I'm so good, man. It's so good to be here with you. Super stoked to have this whole adventure play out.
All right, you've been through The Bachelor, The Traitors, and now it's Destination X. Like, what made you say yes to like hopping on a bus with strangers that have zero GPS?
I think very blessed. A lot of the opportunities I've had, but I think this was the one that I think I was made for the most. The second I heard about this, it was an immediate yes for me. Just the nature of me, my career, obviously, and the passion I've always had for traveling and seeing this world. This was just the most insane experience. And I can truly say it was the greatest thing I've ever done in my entire life. The most rewarding, the most beautiful experience, the most difficult experience as well. It was like I said, an immediate yes, and so stoked that I did it.
So what makes you say that it's like the greatest experience that you've ever done?
There were so many moments throughout this game that I truly, again, your senses are deprived, right? So when you are out and about and you actually have, your mask off, you're not in the bus, it's moments that you have to take extreme advantage of. And there was just a bunch of those where I remember looking around and like it almost like gets me like emotional talking about it, because it was one of the most beautiful sceneries that I've ever encountered. And like the things that we get to do in these places, you could never imagine it, in your wildest dreams. So being able to just check off a lot of the locations, that I haven't been to, some that I had been to, but some that I hadn't as well, was incredible. And just a lot of just awe moments, just epic is, I think, the best way to describe it. And it's going to be really cool to watch it back.
And with your aviation background, you probably know your way around like a map, probably better than most of the people. Did that give you an edge, or did the game, just how they have the rules, just throw you off?
Well, what map are you talking about? We didn't get any maps on this. That was It would have been nice to have that. No, I listen. I did a little bit of prep, obviously, and tried to dig into my toolbox. Just from experience of flying. It came into play a little bit. I would say, the times that it did help me, I tried to use some like celestial navigation for trying to pinpoint at least my latitude of where I was in Europe. But again, with that, you have to have clear skies. You have to be able to be outside at night, and you have to be able to, have a shot at the North Star. So it wasn't always available. There was a couple times where I was able to recognize some departure corridors from airplanes taking off in places I had been, which was very lucky on my behalf. But I was fortunate enough to be able to take advantage of that. Other than that, though, it was a lot of alliances, and it was a lot of just being as observant as possible, and just trying to decipher what's true and what's not. Because the whole thing about this game is, yes, you're getting information, but it's not always accurate, and so you don't know if it's throwing you off, if it's a red herring, or if it's actually leading you to the correct destination. So just the ultimate guessing game. I tried to use my skills as best I could, and it was a blast.
You say it's a guessing game. You say it's about alliances. What about the mind games and like the survival? How did you approach the strategy side of all this?
Ton of strategy. Listen, ton of betrayal. That's the nature of this game. You can work with someone, so long, right? But at the end, there can only be one winner. It's not like, traders. It was a little bit different of a format where you could work as a group and win as a group. Well, here it turns that on its head. So at some point, betrayal will happen, and it's intense. You get close with a lot of people, and that can, it's like I said, for me, it was actually a really emotional experience. It really was, and I wasn't quite expecting that, but just from the awe factor of it and being able to see so many unique parts of this beautiful world to the personal, relationship aspect of it too, and putting trust in someone, and then either having to break that trust or have that trust broken with you. It's a tough thing to navigate. So definitely have to have some mental fortitude to make it in this game and be successful. And I would say, the majority, if not all the players, definitely had that. The casting did a great job of picking the right players.
Peter Weber, thanks for joining me this morning. Catch Peter Weber and the rest of the crew every Tuesday night at 10 Eastern on NBC, and stream the episodes the very next day on Peacock. Thanks for joining me this morning, Peter.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Ever wonder how to turn simple snacks into something really special? National Wine and Cheese Day is a perfect excuse to try it, and our guest today is making it easy. Joining us is wine expert Samantha Capaldi, better known as Samantha Sommelier, with tips to help you cheese the day. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Abby. Thanks so much for having me. And I love that, I am a certified sommelier, but you don't need to be one to make some beautiful cheese and wine pairings with Cracker Barrel cheese and Josh Sellers wine.
And what makes everyday foods taste so good when they're paired just right?
Yeah, I think not overthinking it, not making a fuss about it. I love that we could just go to our local grocery store and grab the pre-sliced Cracker Barrel cheese in the variety pack, have a little something for everyone. And it seems like these boards took a lot of time and were quite elaborate, but I promise you they were not. I'm really bad at slicing up cheeses, making it look pretty, and Cracker Barrel cheese just kind of takes that work out for me. And I'm able to enjoy what I really like to do is talk with my friends, host, drink wine. And you really just need a couple quality wines to pair with your delicious cheeses. So this first one over here is Josh's Prosecco. It's light, fruity, obviously bubbly, and bubbly loves salty. So this is the ultimate salty lovers board. You, of course, have the Cracker Barrel variety pack of cheeses. I love that we have our rich and bold cubes and pickles. I am a big pickle lover. I don't know if you are, Abby. And I love making my pickle a little bit of a cracker. And then I'll add my rich and bold cube. And then I'll add a little bit of sweet jam. I'll take a sip of my Prosecco, and it'll be like this beautiful summer explosion on my palate. And if anyone needs a non-alcoholic sparkling option, Josh's non-alcoholic sparkling is just as delicious and complements the cheese so well. So there's something for everyone.
And how do you match the right cheeses with the drink, like wine, mocktails, or even soda?
Yeah. So I think a lot of it has to do with having a little bit of fun with it. Curiosity goes a long way, and not being afraid to have some contrast. So to give you an example, for this one, we have some spicy honey and smoky salami, along with our extra sharp yellow Cracker Barrel cheese. So you have smoky spicy honey, and savory, right? So sounds a little bit wild, but when you put it together and you take a sip of the Cabernet Sauvignon, what happens is everything tends to mellow out. If there was a lot of heat from the spice, that kind of calms down as soon as you take a sip of the Cabernet, because it's filled with big, bright plums, blackberries, toasted hazelnut. So kind of thinking balance of sweet and savory, right? And a little bit of spice can go a long way, especially with a balanced Cabernet Sauv like this one. So it takes a little bit of practice, but I think at the end of the day is put together what you love. And a lot of these ingredients you could find in your kitchen, in your cabinets. You don't need to be, taking this big trip out trying to find really hard to find ingredients. And that's what I tell my friends when they're talking to me about cheese and wine pairings is accessibility. Cracker Barrel cheese makes my life so much easier. And then something I really like to share for summer specifically is rosé. So this is what I like to call Abby, my porch pounder rosé. She's really fruity, think peaches, citrus, floral. I want to be literally outside on my porch, even though it's 110 degrees in Phoenix. It still is lovely because it's nice and cold. And again, you could kind of see one of my favorite pairings is doing Cracker Barrel cheeses, rich and bold cubes, because they just look how pretty they are on the board. And I could just grab and go. Or even if I wanted a cheese stick, I love the cheddar jack sticks that Cracker Barrel cheese has too. And I could grab a cheese stick, I could grab a glass of rosé, and I could head to my pool and just chill and not have to worry.
And do you have a favorite pairing that people might not think of?
Yeah, I definitely think going a little bit sweet and spicy is a fun one. I think we kind of think salty and bubbles a lot, or we think savory and, Cabernet. But like this one that I was talking about probably has to be my favorite, is having that sweetness of the honey with that spicy kick of a little bit of the chili flakes and having a little bit of the Cracker Barrel savory cheese that I love doing. If I could kind of highlight one of my favorites is the extra sharp white. It's super crumbly. So what's cool is the honey soaks down in the little crumbles. So you're almost getting like the perfect coat of every bite each time you dive in. And the Cabernet Sauv, which is something you don't really think of drinking during the summer, but having a slight chill to it, it's actually super refreshing and not to be afraid of having a bold red during the summertime.
And where can folks go to learn more?
You could go to crackerbarrelcheese.com as well as their Instagram, Cracker Barrel Cheese. And of course, you could go to me, Samantha Sommelier, for any of your no fuss, no stuff wine needs.
Samantha, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Abby. Hope you got some good inspiration.
So what happens when you load a cruise ship with Christmas superfans, a few Hallmark heartthrobs, and more fake snow than the Bahamas has ever seen? You get Christmas at Sea, a brand new docuseries that set sail during Hallmark's 13th annual Christmas in July celebration. This 4-part series follows real-life fans living out their holiday dreams on the first ever Hallmark Christmas cruise, complete with karaoke, surprise proposals, ATV rides, and maybe a little matchmaking made on the 7 seas. Joining us today are 3 of the stars helping to make all that happen. Taylor Cole, Andrew Walker, and Wes Brown. Welcome to the show, you 3. How are you?
Great. How are you? How are you? Thanks for having
I'm
us.
doing okay. I'm not stuck out at sea. It's not Christmas time. All right. I guess you guys are doing better than me. You've all starred in plenty of Hallmark Christmas movies, but this time you're on a real-life cruise with real-life superfans. What made Christmas at Sea feel a little different?
This was a fan interaction that we have never got to experience. The level of connection and emotion and genuine storytelling and sharing with each other was unlike anything we've ever experienced. So to get the chance to document it was awesome. And I'm just glad that we got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And there's some really personal moments in the series, like a surprise proposal. I don't want to give it all away. Maybe a script pitch or two, a couple of grandmas celebrating their grandson. Was there any particular story that stuck with you?
Well, I think the people going through some health issues, obviously, because that's that's pretty extreme. It's life or death, and they've come out on the other end. And I think that and it's made them want to do something momentous in their life. Make a decision that they've always wanted to do, but they never really thought was the right time. And so I think some of those stories, and there was a few within the 5 storylines, those were the ones that really impacted me, I think, the most. Yeah.
And we hear there was a Finding Mr. Shipmas competition and pretty much a full-on Christmas tree lighting ceremony. What were the most memorable cruise events to let's just say for each of you?
I mean, this is for sure by far the most memorable cruise I've ever taken in my life. And I think the most impactful or memorable moment for me was just walking out on stage at the celebration, the initial reveal of all of the talent, and to see what kind of reaction we got when we walked out on stage was incredibly breathtaking. I've never had that kind of feeling like a rock star. I felt like
So much joy, so much love. It was overwhelming. It really was beautiful.
For me, it's towards the end of the cruise. We worked with a lot of talented actors. Here are 2 of them right there, but we had a part where we did a complete ad lib where we had one of our writers write about a 7-page, it was almost like a poem, and I got to read it, and then our actors got to act it out in front of a huge live audience. And that was just, I mean, I barely got through it because I was trying to watch them do their thing. But there was so much stuff. And that's just one of them. That's just one of many. And I think the fans just absolutely loved it.
Andrew, you and Paul helped someone plan a proposal at sea. How did you guys manage to hold together with all those like emotions and everything else going around?
Well, that was one of the storylines that I was talking about. She'd gone through a major surgery and came out on the other end. So it was, it was so, we were so vulnerable, it was such a vulnerable moment for all of us. And I think that's the beauty of a lot of these storylines, is that you're seeing real, genuine emotion. This isn't scripted. This is happening in the moment. And I think that we were caught off guard with how emotional it made us feel and tap into, things that we haven't felt in a long time. So to feel that empathy, for what these people have gone through, and to support them along the way, and to maybe fulfill a dream that they've had or something they've always wanted to do, they just didn't have the right forum to do it in, was incredibly rewarding and humbling.
And Hallmark fans are really a loyal group. My mom is one of them. And this docuseries kind of shows the connection between stars and their audience. And what did it mean to kind of celebrate that bond, especially in such an over-the-top, maybe silly, joyful way?
I mean, when you watch a Christmas Hallmark movie, it brings all of the feelings, all of the love, all of the joy. And really, they're not just watching the Hallmark movies, they live them. So you feel it in person. So it's beautiful.
All right, thank you, 30, for joining me this morning. Don't miss Christmas at Sea. It's a 4-part docuseries that's coming into your home this summer. It premieres July 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Hallmark Channel, and it streams the next day on Hallmark Plus. Perfect for anyone who thinks Christmas could happen or should happen more than once a year. Hey, thank you, 3, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great day.
NBA Twitter is a world of its own, where memes become legends, viral moments spark debates, and basketball never sleeps. And now it's all coming to life in Memes and Nightmares. It's a satirical mockumentary diving deep into the culture of digital fandom. And at the center of it all, we have Josiah Johnson, the king of NBA Twitter himself. He's here to talk about the film, the madness of social media, and how basketball went from a game to a 24/7 online phenomenon. Welcome to the show, Josiah. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Dan. I appreciate the 2 cameras and the cutting, all the stuff you got going on over there, man. That's legendary. That's baller. Excited to get this going. I gotta show love. I gotta show love when I see stuff that I appreciate, man. But thank you so much for having me. Excited to help promote this film, Memes and Nightmares, premiering February 20th, streaming exclusively on Hulu. For me to get the opportunity to work with somebody like LeBron James, who's my favorite basketball player of all time, and work with his company Spring Hill and also the good folks over at Anscape and Starry to make this thing happen, man. I'm just super excited right now. I'm smiling ear to ear, my heart's fluttering, just ready for people to see this thing.
You should be proud and you should be honored, man. You've built a reputation as like the king of NBA Twitter. So how did you take that energy and bring it into Memes and Nightmares?
So really just for me, the film we've been working on this thing for over 3.5 years now. We did a lot of the principal photography back in 2022. For anybody who's a Twitter fan, which is now called X, I'll never call it X, only just obviously to tell you the new name that it has, but knows that there was a huge shift in 2022. The platform changed a lot. But LeBron and his crew over at Spring Hill reached out to me, said they had an idea for a film. They wanted to show some love to NBA Twitter. And I think something that was important for me was to really just pay tribute and homage to the men and women who have helped make this community what it is. Like, there's so many incredibly talented people, everyday people that have used and leveraged this thing to grow and put themselves in positions they may have never imagined, myself included, and also the players, the fans, the teams, and just this whole world. So I think this film really takes a deep dive into that world to really show people, even if you're a casual fan and you've always been curious what NBA Twitter is, this film really helps highlight that.
I agree with you. It went from tweeting to, what do we call it now? Excreting? God.
Yeah. It's always going to be Twitter to me. It ain't never changing.
All right. This film is like a buddy cop style satire on internet culture. What was it like playing off Jamal Johnson, and how was that dynamic shape the comedy?
Jamal, one of my favorite comedians, very heavy in not only the NBA Twitter, but WNBA Twitter spaces. So it's crazy. So the production team behind it, they wrote a script. I think we ended up ad-libbing about 90 to 95% of it. We would take a look at the script, whatever the emotion of the scene was, if you will. Jamal, just such an amazing improver. I was just trying to keep space with him, or keep up with him, go to toe with him, if you will. But for us, it was just, every day on set was, just us trying to make each other laugh. And I think that's really reflected in the film. And we were friends before we worked on this project. So to be able to do things with people that you respect with your friends, I think always makes things easier. So, showing up every day on set, there were some long days, 14, 16, 18-hour days, but we'd always keep the mood light. And I think even, filming this was reflective of what NBA Twitter is for a lot of us. It's just a place to get the jokes off, lighthearted, and to share our love of basketball. So being able to work with Jamel, being able to work with the other members of the production team, truly, just you have a lot of great relationships with a lot of those people. So to see this thing now finally come and be released is a labor of love, and I'm super excited about it.
And NBA Twitter has produced some of the wildest viral moments over the years. Were there any real life stories or memes that inspired scenes in the movie?
Yeah, I think we do a lot of callbacks just to NBA Twitter culture and vital moments that, if you're a basketball fan, they're basically Easter eggs, if they call them in the production world, but Easter eggs that people will be able to watch and I think understand what we're doing. But also we wanted to make sure that this thing wasn't too insidey. It wasn't just you had to be a member of NBA Twitter or deep into that world to understand the film. So we have a lot of stuff for even the casual fans to help learn and help them kind of improve their knowledge of the space. But a lot of moments that we pay tribute to throughout the film.
Josiah Johnson, you're the man. Memes and Nightmares, it drops on Hulu right now. And if you ever laughed at an NBA meme or been sucked into a Twitter debate, this one's for you. Josiah, thanks for hanging out with me, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Dan. And make sure everybody, you go watch, get Hulu if you don't got it. Check out Memes and Nightmares. It's streaming on Hulu, like Dan said. And help support me, help yourself learn about NBA Twitter.
You're the man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And that's it for Rise and Unwind Raleigh. If you want to be on the show, just email me by going to our website, riseunwindtv.com. There's a form you can fill out, send it our way, and maybe you could be on a future episode. Also, follow us on YouTube. That's at Rise Unwind TV. Make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe. All the stuff that all those YouTubers say helps us out too. And until next week, that was Rise and Unwind.